weed every single day. Single day. Talk about is smoking weed, but I know you like it too. And my back don't have a seat, so I'm motivated singing songs and puffing lots of cannabis. I've been to Amsterdam a time or two, and hallelujah for a cheap double bubble gum and lots of cream, Moroccan hash, purple power, yellow gab. I love the juicy fruity grass. If you want answers on the positive effects of sticky green, just hang with me, and in one day we'll smoke more than you've ever seen. We smoke lots of pot every single day.
Good morning, Douglas.
What's up, Doug?
We smoke lots of weed every single day. Trading, singing songs, rolling and back and
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Jared.
And you
Know it, clap your hands.
If you're lifted and you show it, clap your hands. Now we're all getting silly. I am goofy and I'm proud. Making music that is funny, floating on a puppy cloud. Would you like to be my friend? Cause there is no stress involved. If you're having trouble with somebody, leave them problem solved. I will smoke a hoot or poke a cooter. Never
Morning,
be a
Tom.
misery.
How are
Life
you?
is good and
Morning,
so
Tom.
great 'cause I am
Douglas,
free.
good to see you, buddy.
You know we smoke lots of pot every single day. Every single day. If you're you know we smoke lots of weed every single day. Drinking, singing songs, rolling back and bong every single day. Every single day. So if you plan on stopping by, you can plan on getting high every single day.
What's up, everybody? Good morning and good afternoon to you all. Welcome in. Thank you so very much for being here. What's up, Dr. High? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. You?
I'm chilling.
I'm
Chilling,
just,
pretty
I'm
stoned.
I'm just laughing to myself a little bit over here because I saw that you put up earlier Happy Hump Day.
Yeah.
What's happened? It's all guys that have shown up.
I know. I love it.
You call it Hump Day and it's only men who come. The women run away.
All the women are like, oh, this is a perverted show. Forget it. Get out of here. They're already talking about humping.
Between that and your new tool.
We're not talking about him anymore.
No?
No. I did not focus on him.
Well, did you end up hurting yourself and that's why you don't want to think about it?
I have to get used to it. I have to just get used to it.
Man, we laughed the other day. I had some father almost piss himself in Walmart. When we first got here, we went to Walmart to grab a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
And we're walking through the section for pets to get so that, you know, they always got all the little pet toys, right? Mm-hmm. So we can hear this god awful sound going on. Take. We're like, what the hell is that? So we walk by the end of the aisle, and here's a little boy about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old. And he's got this dog toy chicken by the neck. And he's squeezing it. And as he's squeezing it, he's making this noise. My son and my daughter's boyfriend, I'm like, check it out. That little kid's choking the chicken. And the guy's father just died right there in the spot. You know what I mean? Because it was so perfect. It was an opportunity that could not be missed.
Choking his chicken.
And he really was choking a chicken. It was making this sound. It was hilarious. We had some fun with that one.
So what's new? What's new? Anything new? How's the moving?
I didn't do too much yesterday. After the show, I just did a little bit more work on the computer, and then took my dog outside, and then he met one of the local puppies. So I was very curious to see how that was going to go.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you? Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Patricia. Yeah, so I don't know how he is with other dogs. He doesn't spend much time with other dogs, right?
Yeah.
So this was a 5-month-old chocolate lab. And I was a little concerned because the puppy was really rambunctious with him. You know what I mean? Like, jumping on him and licking his face and everything. But he went down, low to the ground. He kind of laid down, kind of submitted a little bit to the pup, and They were pretty good. So yeah, get rid of this guy, Nature's Nirvana.
Yeah. Already gone.
We don't need that. They can try, but we're gonna catch them quick.
I'm fast. I'm fast with that shit. Now that I figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yesterday was kind of a chill day, you know.
Nobody click on that if you can still see it. It should be gone.
Yeah.
Your 5-month-old Pit is watching funny videos right now.
What's that?
Patricia wrote her 5-month-old Blue Pit is watching funny videos.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the dogs notice, you know. Like my dog, you show some horses on TV or dogs, and he's right tuned into it. He's like, what's up? What's up? You know?
Yeah.
So
my plant is looking good. She's still looking good. I got the fan officially blowing on her now.
Good.
At the same time, you know, and the blue lights and the white lights and the bright lights and the everything's going well.
Hold on, I'm just gonna pop my door open for a second because the dog's back there crying, and he can't get walked. But I'll put him on the balcony and see if he'll just do his thing. You know?
Yeah, sure.
I can still hear you and I can still talk, but
all right, well, we're here. Isn't a fan of puppies. She loves to play, but just gets annoyed at puppies. Yeah, well, my dog don't like humans at all. Hi, Kelly. How are you? Welcome in, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. High has some plants growing in the background there out of his pumpkin. It's beautiful. Don't step on the pumpkin, sir.
Well, I gotta get in the Halloween spirit, right?
Yeah, sure.
For me, it's all about the cannabis. Now the party can start. What's going on, guys? How are you, Kel?
Kelly's here. Now the party can start.
There we go.
We've been waiting. We were waiting for you. So I really don't have anything.
Why?
Well, I don't know.
I spent some time on ChatGPT this morning.
Oh, did you? Good.
Yeah, trying to figure out a way we can structure this show.
Right.
Like how to chunk it down. Because it would be good if we had some like organization maybe to it. You know, to some extent, but at least came in with an idea of how to.
What we're planning on doing for the day. That would be nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah, maybe like an idea of what we're going to talk about. That would be helpful.
Yeah, like I'm just not. This is it's all new, right? So
yeah, right. But what I was going to say about speaking of that is that I received an email from our friend Al, and we have to refill out and submit the new because the stuff that they had sent us past in the past
old paperwork. Okay,
is old paperwork. So now I will be resubmitting the paperwork today. But he said it's much easier and much more self-explanatory, a lot less. My wife will be thrilled because she was like, this sucks trying to fill it out the last time.
Right.
And, hopefully it'll be a lot easier. He says it is. So I'll spread that news to her.
I sent him a message this morning asking him when he'd have time for a conversation so that we can finally get all our ducks in a row, right? Whatever we have to actually create. If I got to go into Canva and make something or whatever.
I'm still thinking we need to make video commercials for all of our sponsors because we're going to have to play commercials and they're going to have to be video for the television stuff about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How are we going to do that? I wonder.
I think that's you. That's all you because I'm soft-handed.
Well,
but I will just have to get, information and stuff from all of our sponsors.
Hello, Lori.
And then you would just make kind of short little video clips about them that would play for however long,
15-second spots or
15 second
spots or whatever they are, 30 seconds.
I mean, technically they're all 30-second spots or 36 seconds.
Well, we should be able to do that somehow.
Yeah, we're way better than we were when I was concerned before. Now we have like so much extra time, sponsor wise.
Lori, Are you watching and listening to us from the shower?
Talk loud. I'm in the shower. Okay.
I didn't realize our voices drove women to the shower.
It does. That's where they're all at. They're like,
Kelly runs to the shower too sometimes when we're on.
Yeah.
Do we have the kind of voices that make women
want to shower? We're dirty.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say make women want to get wet,
but no, they just clean. They're like, oh, cleanness.
Yeah, these guys make me feel so dirty. I gotta go wash.
Right. That's what I was thinking. We need to get cleaned up from listening to the hippie for the last 4 hours. Now I got to get cleaned up for the next 4 to 6 to 8 hours, whatever it is.
That's funny. Yeah, so I was on that. I was, yeah.
Did you come up with anything? Did ChatGPT help you?
It did kick some stuff off because I got to admit, like I probably spent the first 4 hours I was awake this morning on YouTube trying to understand how to create successful podcasts, right? How to take this and actually turn it into, or how not turn it into something, but how to make it the best we can.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's difficult because there seems to be so many different ways, so many different people's style and stuff like that. So we'll just muddle our way through. We'll get it done.
I think we just be ourselves and we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's just in how to chunk down the time, right? Because it gets difficult without the structure. We always end up going, well, what do you want to talk about? Like, we kind of got to come in here with an idea of what we want to talk about a little bit.
I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about weed. I want to talk about me. Talk about number one. Oh, no, wrong song.
Well, number one's hard to define once you have children.
Yeah, I'll say. I immediately went from number one to like number 5.
Yeah,
changes. In the house. I was like, I think some cats and animals have more power than I do here now.
My wife always says, if you and Loki were hanging off a cliff, guess who's getting saved?
Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife told me the same thing about Sophie. Unfortunately, Sophie has passed.
You're back in the loop then. You're back at the top of the totem pole.
Oh no, I'm just back up at number like 7 now.
Good morning, Tina. How are you?
Good morning, Tina.
The cops killed my Rottweiler because he's going after him. That was black. She just had puppies with us, my brother. Yeah, that's disgusting. Cops shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? They do shoot people's dogs, though. And that ain't cool. That really ain't cool at all. You know what I mean?
No, that ain't cool at all. But they would probably have to do something like that to mine if she went after him. She's a big, ferocious dog.
They're just doing what they're meant to do. Protect your territory.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's talk weed. I mean, we got plenty of things to talk about. We did. What's her name? Curly Cal. Did Chucky talk? Did you talk to Chucky last night about CBD and maybe even touching on to the marijuana side of it?
Well, I'd really like to talk to Chuck.
I would too. Chucky, come on down.
Try and understand his thoughts. You know what I mean? And then see if we can't find something that would work that would be in alignment with his, with his.
He's not gonna. He's shy, but she'll see.
Okay. Yeah, that would be okay. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, that is sad. I'm sorry too. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a good show last night. Nick and I. He is unfortunately. Let me tell everybody now. Nick has prior engagements. Some of them, he had already planned prior to joining WTHC. So tonight he will not be. There is no hippie in the clouds with Nick tonight. He's got a very important engagement tonight, so he won't be here. So that being said, I won't be here either. I'm not filling in for him and doing 25 hours today. No.
8 days a week, man. The Beatles said it best.
All right, Curly Kel, how do I invite him? Should I just send the invite to you, Curly Kel, or do I send it to Charles? Oh, there he is. All right, Charles, I'm going to send you the invite. Hold on. Of course, everything's taking forever now.
Well, technology.
Yeah.
Technology. I'm much happier with my internet here, though. I can tell you that much.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
I can see by the smile on your face.
Well, you can see how well my plants are growing in the background, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, Charles, there's a link there. You click that little link, and then I will bring you up, and you're going to hang out with us. And we're going to talk about THC and CBD.
All the cannabinoids.
For some reason, it's saying he's there, but device not connected yet.
Right.
We have a couple seconds there.
Well, the kids are outside at the daycare.
Oh, it's time. Of course, right here in our show.
I can hear them.
Of course. It's okay. Take your time. I'm going to get ready for a 420 song anyway, so.
Just about that time.
Yep. All right, well, let's do the 420 song. By the time he comes back, we'll be ready to go. Here we go. Happy 420 to everybody out there, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to get high.
Hey, it's Bill Schmidt Jr., a.k.a. Billy Blaze, a.k.a. 420 Kid of the Holistic Cloud. R.I.P. to my man Derek Crow. I want to give a shout out to Calligraphy. My dude Means, little homie Manuel Noriega, Big Just, Rossi, Jack the Apostle, the League.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Big buds to little crumbs broke up in the bottom. Feel like autumn leaves falling. Only problem needs solving is seeing who I'm calling for some trees to indulge in. Need to holler at Billy. He keep his head in the cloud. Bel Air Kush by the bush. Wow. Screaming loud. Still smoking. Having nice dreams floating through space. So when they ask me how high, my reply, I'm half baked. Sir, smoke a lot. Doctor said I need a bacchiotomy. Prescribe me huckleberry and lemon cherry gelato, G. I take it back to rolling in the Optimo. Blowing smoke out my nose. Dropping ashes on my clothes till I doze off. I'm so fried, no lie. Got you afraid of heights, scared to look down, you so high. Cause when I spit that shit, it's like I lit that shit in the crowd. Passing around and let you lick that shit. Weed is all I need. Smoke that weed. Weed is all I breathe. Smoke that weed. Products in the leaf from my relief. I'm in love with THC. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it. 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 Roll that shit, lick that shit.
The sun's shining in my pocket on a Sunday stroll. Homie got the rack, see me the sack, let the good times roll. Therapy, earth, body, and soul. World, give me beat, Bel Air Kush, give me mental control. L-lit back row, 5 packs told. The studio we roll, bring relief with the musical. I need to know, healthier than pill pop. Mother, give me herbs to fill spot. My medication, kid to a kill shot. Ministry, laying hands in stressful situations. Out of all the girls in my life, maybe 10 a reservation. Here at 23, raise your hands in liberation. A celebration, history free from information. Stand up, provide the right education. Show love, holistic cloud, politics throughout the nation. Making it stop debating Billy Blunt stash, make the taste of weed. Weed is all I need. Smoke that weed. Weed
Weed is all I breathe. Broke down leaves, broke down leaves. And nothing for my relief. I'm not too serious. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it. 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 Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it.
Hey, come on. WTHC, we are back. And look, Dr. High, Charles made it.
Hey, Charles. How are you?
Do you prefer
Chuck? Charles, how would you prefer we address you?
Charles.
Charles?
Charles? Fine.
Perfect.
Okay. Charles, nice to meet you.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Yesterday, Hippie was talking to me about you perhaps being interested in exploring some CBD use, and also saying that you were concerned about getting high from cannabis. Could you just explain to me a little bit about your thoughts on cannabis and how you feel about approaching it as a potential, therapy for whatever it is you're trying to deal with?
My thoughts on weed. You talking about?
Yeah, like if you're interested in looking at cannabis to deal with either anxiety or whatever the case is that you're trying to address, what do you think of it currently?
I got no problem with it. I'm not gonna smoke it, but Hippie was telling me something about the CBD, maybe something about the gummies. So I was kind of interested in that.
Okay, so you can, if you use just a CBD product, then you'll have no psychological effect at all. There'll be no high associated to it. You won't feel any different at all. You know what I mean? Like your psychological state of mind won't change in a way that you will. 1 second. Shut up. We don't live in the country anymore. I live in an apartment building now, you little
Yeah,
shit.
the neighbors are gonna be like, "Yo, what's up with your dog?"
And he echoes, you know what I mean? And everything.
Oh, sure, and because the house isn't decorated yet, so it's everything's
I'm
decorated.
gonna go give this beast shit. Hey,
So, Chucky, what he's trying to say is, like, with CBD, what I was saying, I may have been a little incorrect. It's not, I mean, it's definitely something that everybody should be on. I wasn't incorrect in that part, but it might not be helpful for what you're looking for.
CBD can help address anxiety. One of its best known uses is for inflammation. So let's say you have arthritis or something of that nature. That's inflammation caused. So that can be really good for the joints and the lotion and that. But cannabis really works best when it's not an isolated compound.
Well, I mean, I don't have anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have anxiety, but the other thing is what me was talking about, the CBD could help or not. I don't know.
Right, but you just want to give it a shot and see what the potential is.
Yeah, like I remember when
All right, Curly Kell is being a little more open over here in the chat. Charles, she says something about mood swings. So CBD is it gonna help with mood swings, Dr. High?
Well, it could have like a calming effect, right? So it may give you that little opportunity before things transition to actually kind of just evaluate first. You know what I mean? Or to think. But yeah, it can have positive reaction. That's why it's used for, the military here in Canada, we were talking last week. They spent last year $167 million providing veterans with cannabis. That's how effective they're finding it. They have medical marijuana trauma centers specifically for veterans here in Canada. And there are many veterans who swear by its use to help them feel better, right? From their experiences from the military and deployments and things of that nature. So, I mean, they're starting to become a real track record of use and the benefits of it for this type of thing. And is that the situation you're looking at, Charles?
Oh, that's all nice and fine and dandy stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm still not gonna smoke weed. I was more kind of interested in the CBD stuff.
Right. And you don't have to smoke weed. We can make preparations that are straight CBD. You can buy it that way, but the problem is if you're buying it, you're not going to get a straight CBD product. So we'll have to do something like we did with Hippie last week, where you buy the CBD isolate from GVB Biopharma out of California. It's very inexpensive. And then we make your own oil from that. And then you can take that oil and put it into gummies or something of that nature. So it's much less expensive to do the process yourself, and you have complete control over what goes into it and the strength of the preparation that you're making. So that would be the way to go. And you would feel no psychological effect at all. Just a quick anecdote about how CBD works. My stepmother had broken her ankle, and she was recovering from that ankle break, and she was still experiencing some pain and wondered if CBD might be helpful. And of course, because I prepare these things, I made a bottle for her. I gave it to my father, and I asked him after a couple of weeks, I said, so how's that going with Alice? Is she finding the CBD is giving her any relief from the pain she's experiencing or anything like that? So he asked her while I was on the phone, and she said, no, I'm not really noticing anything different, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I said to my dad, well, you know, I guess doesn't maybe necessarily work for everybody, you know? And a couple of weeks later, my dad calls me up and asked me if I could make another bottle of the CBD oil for his wife. And I said, well, I thought Alice wasn't really experiencing anything from it. And she said, well, she didn't think she was until she ran out of the oil. And then she saw it come back. So it's so subtle that you may not even realize that it's doing anything for you until
right. You can't try. You're like that. What he's trying to say is you can't try it for a week and be like, I don't feel fucking nothing. This shit sucks. This is a thing that you're going to get on and you're going to be on for life. And when you do all of a sudden get off of it, you're going to realize you're like, holy shit, these pains that I didn't have for the last year or 2 years, well, you know, now they're back again. Wow, that CBD shit actually works, you know?
And you said that there's no long-term effects?
No.
And you won't test positive. You can't test positive in a drug test or anything like that.
Your body actually produces its own cannabinoids. See, we have something called the endocannabinoid system, which is a regulatory system within the body that regulates many different functions. And the body produces endocannabinoids that fire off those cells and work to reduce inflammation and control nausea and to deal with anxiety and all these multitude of functions. Now, basically, when you take cannabinoids from the cannabis plant, such as CBD or THC or CBG or whichever isolated compound you want, those interact with your endocannabinoid system in order to promote balance within the body. So there is no negative effect on the physiological side. There are some people in the world, and very few, but there are some who don't respond well to cannabinoids, and it makes them uncomfortable. But I've never heard of a case where somebody was using strictly CBD that have had any kind of negative experience. So it's usually with high dose THC that people have these negative consequences, but with the CBD, you won't even feel it. You won't even know. And it's really, really easy to do. It's cost effective.
Yeah, and Dr. High, before you go any further, because he is going to get some on his own, I'm sure, but I volunteered. I have plenty here because I'm not going through it nearly as quick as we had
Right.
anticipated.
And you've already made the oil.
Right. I mean, is that a satisfactory dose for him? I mean, that's how you would suggest it for him anyway. So
What I would suggest
uh-huh.
really would be 1,000 milligram doses into a 30 ml bottle, which makes one eyedropper full,
Uh-huh.
33 milligrams.
Uh-huh.
And I would do a half a dropper. Do you drink coffee at all, Charles?
Coffee and soda.
Coffee and soda. So if you have a coffee in the morning, I would put half an eyedropper in the morning and then half an eyedropper in the afternoon. So split it up, 2 different times during the day and take half the dose at each time because your body takes the time to absorb it, right? And if you take a full dose in the morning, because it's mixed with oil, a lot more will pass through like that. So the best absorption would be just to split up half an eyedropper in the morning, so half a milliliter in the morning, which would give you about 16.5 milligrams of CBD, and then the other half. So you want to really shoot for about 30 to 35 milligrams per day to start, and then see how you feel from there. Because that's one thing about this plant is it doesn't affect everybody the same way. So some people need an increased dosage. You could be like Hippie, who doesn't get any benefit when he uses cannabis orally. But we just have to try from there. But it's completely safe. You won't, like I said, you won't get high at all. You won't feel any kind of altered consciousness or anything like that. So
The only thing you may feel is relaxed.
yeah, it's better.
You'll feel mellow, calm. That's the only thing your brain will work normally. Everything will work normally. Your hand, you're not going to see shit. You're not going to be high.
No, nothing at all.
You're just going to feel calmer.
Yeah.
Just overall relaxed feeling.
Yeah, but is it gonna make you drowsy during the day?
Not at all.
No.
Just relax. Just calm. Not so tense.
Yeah,
Not so.
it won't make you drowsy whatsoever. There's no component there because what you'll do is you're going to be buying CBD isolate, which is 99.9% pure CBD. So usually what makes you drowsy with cannabis are the terpenes. So when you have myrcene or beta-myrcene, it's these things that make people sleepy and drowsy from the use of cannabis.
Iracine, yeah, because that's the one I got. This flower that I got right now. That's the one, man. I smoke it like the first thing this morning. I smoked the joint. And instead of getting up and being happy, I was a little more like this.
Yeah, ready.
I still was productive. I was still able to do my job, and I've smoked my way through that sleepy part, and I'm high and happy. But yeah, you want to stay awake, but you're not going to have any of that. You're going to feel great. I mean, it's just
nothing at all.
Yeah, but like if I was to eat like a brownie or eat some kind of stuff with the weed and stuff in it, all it does is make my head heavy and just like I want to like pass out.
Right, but you're talking about something that actually has weed in it.
Right, and you didn't have any idea back then what kind of weed, what was being put in it. Now you have the ability to choose what type of flower or what type of strain you want, and it could give you an uplifting feeling and a feeling of happiness and joy instead of a down feeling, which you may have had an indica, which would have made you feel sleepy and tired and head heavy and that kind of stuff. Right, Dr. High?
Well, that could be the case for sure, especially when you bake, right? When you bake with cannabis, you convert THC to CBN if you cook at a higher temperature, which also induces that sleepy, heavy feeling. But if we're talking about straight CBD, you'll have none of that experience at all. None of it, because there's no THC, there's no terpenes, there's no CBG, there's no CBN. It's CBD pure.
So you're saying CBD is all beneficial?
Yes.
Yes, there's no bad to it at all.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody in the world should have an intake of CBD. That's why I just switched over. I'm switching over slowly from my nicotine because I was so low on my nicotine vape. So now I'm going to just vape because I know you don't like to smoke, and that's fine. And you can make it into edibles. You can make it into your CBD. You can just put those drops under your tongue, right, Dr. High?
Yeah, you can put them under your tongue. You can put them on your food. You know what I mean? If you didn't want to put them in the
on a slice of pizza. Yeah, you could just
if you made a hamburger or whatever, you could just put put that half a dropper full on top with the ketchup and mustard. It wouldn't taste any different because you'll make it with MCT oil. But for me, I don't think that the best therapy, and we confirmed this with Dr. Harris when he was on the show.
Little Red, how are you, sweetie? Good to see you.
It's sometimes good to have a combination of all the cannabinoids to induce what they call the entourage effect. But if you're really adamant about staying away from the THC side of it, then we can approach it from a way that there's no THC whatsoever involved in the balance. There's no smoking of marijuana involved. It's simply an oil that you're going to make that you can put under the tongue, put in your coffee, put a few drops on your food, whatever you want to do. And then you try
That's the stuff I've already got made. So I'm going to give some when I see Kelly. I'll give some to her so you can start immediately. And then you guys just order it when you're ready. You know, get it ordered.
Even your full investment to prepare for you. Let's say we use a formula that I was discussing, 1,000 milligrams into 30 milliliters. So each bottle would be 1 month worth of CBD oil. And for about $40, you'll be able to make yourself 10 months worth of oil in one shot. So really inexpensive. If you were to try and go buy that from the dispensary, number one, you wouldn't get pure CBD. You'd have to deal with THC containing product. And number two, it would cost you for each bottle $70, right? Or more.
Or more.
Yeah. Expensive. So it's much better to make it at home yourself, and you have full control over what's going into it, and you can avoid all the elements of cannabis that you don't want to include.
Now, Tom over here says, Charles, I have a friend who never smoked weed and takes CBD, and they said they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it any other way. So, I mean, everybody should have a CBD regimen. Everybody. That's all you guys up here in the chat thingy. That's everybody. Everybody should. It does not hurt you. It only helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's so safe to give it to children. You know what I mean? With seizure disorders and stuff like that. So, you know.
It's safe to give to children if they aren't sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be forcing a joint in their mouth, but give them a couple drops. That's not going to hurt them.
Well, I mean, there's not as much concern about, with cannabis, they say that people under the age of 24 shouldn't be consuming cannabis because of its effect on the developing brain. But CBD is not classified the same way. They don't see it the same way. That's why it's unregulated. But it's really safe. And the worst thing that's going to happen, Charles, is that you're not going to get the result you were looking for. You know what I mean? It may work, it may not work, but there's absolutely no harm or danger.
But can you explain? Give him a little further, because I think that, I know that he's not interested, but he doesn't have to smoke THC. We don't have to you can get high, not high, but you can feel good at a very minimal. He can help you learn how to make this CBD and then add a little bit of THC, the good stuff that's not going to make you sleepy, that's going to give you a little more of that feel good energy that you're probably looking for.
Well,
that smile on your face instead of being cranky and grumpy all the time.
Well, yeah, it's more about balancing out the product, right? Instead of being 100% CBD, if you can go 95% CBD and 5% THC, the THC won't really affect you the same way because your receptor sites prefer the CBD. So it's preferential. So you wouldn't get high, but it does stimulate more of your endocannabinoid system because of the way it interacts with the receptors. But if it's not something that Charles is comfortable with, we need to start where he's comfortable.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
not starting with CBD.
Yeah. And if you want to look down the road a little bit at incorporating a little bit of live resin or a little bit of distillate, just to add a small ratio of CBD or of THC or CBG or CBN.
And it's still not going to, he said, negative to us, negative to smiling or negative to us. Because even a little bit is not going to get you high. Like, oh my God, I'm stoned out of my mind. I can't function. It's only going to give you a little bit of a smile. It's just going to make you feel better. It's not going to get you Stoned.
Were you ever a cannabis user, Charles? Was it ever a part of your lifestyle, or was it just something that's never really been on the radar for you?
No, it's part of Kelly's lifestyle every day.
Right, I'm familiar with that, but I was just wondering, like, did you get high in high school and then you gave it up when you went into the military, or was there any time that you actually used cannabis?
Might have tried it maybe like once in high school. That was it.
Yeah, one time, and it just wasn't anything that was interesting for you.
Nah, never really did anything for me.
Right.
You mean like you didn't get a buzz, or it just you didn't like the enjoyment of it? You didn't understand why we enjoy it so much.
I don't like sitting in a group and people blowing all that smoke in my face.
You don't like sitting in a group of people and what?
Smoke blowing in his face.
Oh, well, you don't have to smoke it nowadays. You can eat it, and you can drink it. You can,
and actually, smoking cannabis is probably the worst way you can consume it, because you're burning plant material that is completely irrelevant to what you're actually trying to do. You know what I mean? Which is stripping of its medical constituents, right? As opposed to just getting high. But it's about so much more now, right? For a long time, it was just about people getting high, right? People were using cannabis to get high. There were some who were more knowledgeable that understood its medical potential, but for most of our lifetime, it was people getting high. It's only been the last, dozen years or so that there's been a focus on the potential of cannabis as a therapy and as medication for people to help counteract standalone situations such as anxiety, depression, PTSD, nausea, vomiting, things like that.
anger,
or to counteract the side effects from other medications or traditional treatments such as chemotherapy. So, it's becoming more in the more studied, and it's being looked at from a different perspective. So it's not about being a stoner necessarily. It's about the potential of the plant to help people cope with different situations throughout the course of a lifetime. And the older we get, the truth is, Charles, the older we get, the more potential benefit we find from the inclusion of cannabis in the lifestyle. So
I think I should just start with the CBD first and see how it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That would be a great way to go. And I'm trying to remember, we did 10 grams into how many milliliters did we do? Do you remember, Hippie? 300?
I have no fucking clue. I can't remember yesterday.
Because I'm pretty sure that's what we did for your mix, which would make it the exact right ratio for what
the whole bottle.
Charles.
Whatever you said, I did the whole bottle. So whatever you said, plus the whole
I don't remember what the milliliters were in the bottle, but I believe we were just about the correct ratio.
Yeah, it was perfect, you said.
Yeah. So
I think it's going to be perfect for him under the tongue or in some food. I will give him a bottle of it that he can use, and I'll tell Kelly how to order it so she has more in the future and how to make it. You guys can go watch the video back to see how to make it, or we can explain it to you again. It's not a big deal. Yeah. It takes a matter of like 30 seconds to actually make it if we don't talk slow.
Yeah. It's so easy to do at home. I mean, if you can make a cup of coffee, you can make your own CBD oil.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
So I can make gummies out of those?
You could use the oil to make the gummies. Yeah, you could simply, it's really easy. When I want to make gummies out of something cannabis related, I simply use Jello gelatin mix and then add to it 6 packages of regular gelatin.
So I can make the gummies and I can sell the gummies?
You could if you wanted to.
You trying to get into business here? I didn't know you were trying to create a business.
From doing so, Charles.
Chucky's CBD gummies. Get them out of here. I got to do commercials.
It's the interesting thing is that nobody's doing pure CBD because THC is the focus.
Right. CBD's old news, buddy. You're just starting to catch up.
Yeah, but it's a mistake that people are making because CBD is just as important. Yes,
no, I agree.
Yeah.
You what?
That doesn't mean anything to me. I can still sell them.
Right.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with them once you make them. Yeah.
They're not illegal. You can do whatever you want. You can stick them up your butt. Don't matter. There's nothing in there illegal. All right, we got to do commercials. Speaking of Chucky, and we'll be back. Charles, are you done with us? You want to go? I see.
Are you done with us?
Yeah.
Are you done with us? All right. I see you fidgeting over there. Like, is this over with? I'm done with you guys. Leave me alone.
But please let us know how this is going for you. I'm really curious because for me, I learned the most about this plant through talking with people who are actively trying to use
This
it
is what it's about.
to do something, right? Specific. So I'd be curious to know your experience.
Hippie can keep you up to date. I talk to him every day.
No,
Yeah.
we'll bring you back on. We'll make sure you come back on and sit here uncomfortably for a while.
Well, thanks for coming up anyway. We
All right,
appreciate that for sure. And
love you, Chucky. You're the man.
Yeah.
I love and appreciate you, buddy.
Are you in the Owensville or Middletown, New York area? Revamp
Go
your
see
space
Chucky.
with Collins Paints.
Thanks,
Collins
man. Thank
Painting.
you.
Walls like Collins Paints. LTD adds class of color to your world. Collins Painting is a veteran-owned and operated business. They can transform your space to whatever your heart desires. Say goodbye to the boring beige and hello to possibilities of bright and vibrant colors. The Collins Painting team are a group of skilled professional painters who will turn your vision into reality. Call Collins Paint LTD today to get a fast and easy quote. Available Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them at 845-869-8176.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that lasts up to a year, and each machine lasts 25 to 30 years. Simply attach to your faucet or install under your sink. Even get a mineral spa unit for your shower. Go to ownyourwater.org to get a free ebook. Plus, pay for any machine in full and get an extra filter free. Change your water and change your life. Ownyourwater.org.
Discover the natural path to wellness at Tailored Herbs and Concentrates.
Herbs?
With a passion for holistic health, we are your trusted source for premium herbs and concentrates.
Wait a minute, do they have weed?
Our dedicated team is here to guide you on your wellness journey. Open 7 days a week, 10 to 10, ensuring you have access to what you need when you need it most. Tailored Herbs and Concentrates is located at
pot
2941 Highway 11, Burnt Church, New Brunswick, Canada. If you need assistance anytime,
I need assistance. I need weed.
just call 506-871-4299. Tailored Herbs and Concentrates.
Where all the potheads go.
WTHC. Hold on.
What's that?
I don't know. That was a hairball or something stuck in my throat.
Cotton ball.
Anyway, do you know the phrase that pays today?
No, because I was out of touch this morning a little bit.
How are you going to get your free pre-roll? You are the closest one.
Probably.
No.
Can I call in my answers? Can I phone them in?
Yeah, I guess you can technically ship them right in that country. Yeah, so I guess, technically.
Yeah.
The phrase that pays is, if you're at Tailored Herbs and Concentrates right now, up in New Brunswick, Canada, in Burnt Church on Highway 11, you have to say, "Weed me up before I go," and they're going to give you...
Weed me up before I go.
Yeah, weed me up before I go, and you're going to get a free pre-roll.
Oh, that's
courtesy of the hippie. And
that's a good
Tailored
one.
Herbs and Concentrates.
We should get some pictures from inside that dispensary.
Yes.
Yeah, we could make a little.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to need to make videos. That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to get like them to take a picture of the front of the building and a quick view of the inside.
I need some pictures I can flip through as I run a little video through.
And you just make a little video that plays to that commercial, that sound bite. You know what I mean? And that's all we have to do with basically all of them.
Yep.
We'd have to get a couple pictures of Chucky pretending to paint.
Yep.
On CBD.
Painting the letters CBD.
Yes, he could paint the letter CBD. Collins painting.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Anyway, what else? Anybody else out of there want to come up here and hang out and talk weed with us? Come on. That was fun. Chucky was a little shy, but I know some of you freaks aren't shy. Lori,
She's
calm
probably
down.
flower. Got to give her a chance to get
down,
off and dry
Lori.
off. So I grabbed just a couple of quick stories earlier
Oh, cool. Forget it, Lori. We're good.
to look at.
Oof, that was
Let me
close.
just get back into them. So, a little surprise in Jamaica. 60 Jamaican school kids hospitalized after eating cannabis rainbow candy. Now, why were these school children having access to this potent cannabis candy in school?
Same reason those poor little kids that passed away in New York had access to it in the daycare.
That was fentanyl, though.
Because some dumbass had it in the basement and thought that it was a great place to keep it.
No, that was fentanyl. That was a horrible story. Really, like what
Oh, it's horrible.
What was it doing there? And then how do you hold somebody responsible in a place like that where you can't necessarily narrow it down to the actual individual?
Everybody goes.
That action.
Everybody goes. I don't know.
You know,
I don't even want to talk about it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Let's talk good news. That little girl that was lost in upstate New York was found safe and sound.
That was pretty cool. And
Great
all of that
news.
was because of APHIS, the fingerprint identification
Oh,
system we have in the States.
Yep.
This bonehead.
Yeah, not the very brightest guy in the world.
Yeah, well, he dropped a ransom note in the mailbox of the little girl's home.
I don't want to say anything, but he might have been high.
Yeah, they were able to extract his fingerprint, and that's how they got him from a DUI charge back in like the 80s or 90s.
90s, yeah, dumbass.
Yeah. Pretty
That'll
incredible.
teach you to drink and drive.
But I mean, that is a very happy ending to a story that probably rarely ends happily.
Yeah, very rarely ends happily.
You know what I mean? So
thank God for everybody that was involved in that. Yeah.
Detroit wishes they were in Canada. Why would you wish you were in Canada? It gets cold up here.
Do you hear what was happening? My friend Pothead, and this is Canadian news, and this is what would you call it? A gossip, I guess. This is the gossip column.
Okay.
But I don't want to, because I don't know, I can't verify. I don't live up there. But rumor has it they had to close the school because of racism up there. All the indigenous kids were being beaten and kicked and by all the white children, and they've kicked all the indigenous children out of the school because it's not safe for them to be in the school right now. I don't know. You might want to look into this. This is what I'm hearing.
Well,
over there in that area up there where we're talking. And I'm like, what?
Up in New Brunswick where Pothead is?
Yeah. The school. I don't know what the school is.
I mean, I pay attention to the news, right? I probably put in 2 hours a day with news on television. For the most part, Canadian news, a little bit of American news too, but for the most part, Canadian. National stations. And I've not heard that story.
Well, she was in the Discord with us this morning telling us all. I mean, I don't find her to be one to make shit up.
Well, I'm not suggesting in any
No. Yeah, no, you're not. I'm just saying, like saying that there was videos on somewhere like on Facebook or on TikTok of indigenous children being beaten and kicked in the face by other children that weren't indigenous, I would say. And yeah, it's really bad. She said it's really bad. They had to shut the school down, and
it should be the reverse. It shouldn't be the indigenous children who are not allowed to attend.
I am not there. I don't really.
It should
like
be.
I said, it could all be gossip. I don't know. Like, I'm not calling her a gossip. I'm just she was.
But you can't hold. Yeah. You can't penalize the victim. You have to penalize the perpetrator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's rules, and then they do what they want anyway.
It is kind of sad. Like I feel for the indigenous community because this is their land, this is their home. This country belongs to them, and the Europeans came here, the settlers came here 300-400 years ago, and really just took advantage of a good, kind population who are open to things, and they just, you know what I mean? They just walked all over them, and they did all kinds of stuff.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like here they had residential schools where they took these indigenous children away from their families in an attempt to like to strip them of their identities, right? And to take away their heritage from them and take away their language and bring them into, Christianity and things like that. And they just tried to take away their identities, which, and it's disgusting, right? For a long time, we had statues of Sir John A. Macdonald, who, if I remember correctly, was the first prime minister of Canada, the very first one. And yet this man, with intent, took blankets that had been infected with smallpox and sent them to indigenous communities because the indigenous had no immunity to smallpox because they'd never been exposed to it. And it just decimated that community. And that was done with intent. Yet we had statues of this piece of garbage, in front of schools and in different towns and stuff like that in Canada. So
I'm gonna cut you off, and I'm gonna break my rules on Facebook. I will get in trouble for this, but I don't care. This is for my friends, right? Indigenous friends.
An Indian ain't an Indian without his flow. So if one more motherfucker come up to me and tell me to get my hair cut, you know what I'ma say? Long hair don't care.
When I got my first cut, I was about 3. I remember that shit like I was 13. Hair messing up the place, tears dripping down my face, pissed off in my pockets like, how could you betray me? Hey. But I never let it faze me. I never knew it then that my hair is what'll make me. Said long hair on a man looks lazy. Couldn't understand that it represented bravery. I never knew it then, but I do now. I stand out in the crowd cause my skin brown. Now I keep my hair down and I whip it all around like it's part of my regalia. Flowing at a powwow. Long hair don't care, I say it proudly. Long hair don't care, man, I say it loudly. We the first of the nation with beauty all around us. Long black hair, boy, tell me how you found us. Tell me how you found us. Tell me about your hair, my cousin. The thing about my hair was that I grow it because I love it. And I'm sick of hearing people asking when I'm gonna cut it. And I'm Johnny Redcorn. I'm a bad motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker.
Feeling fresh, ready to face the day.
What you heard? I've been called worse. Long hair don't care, man. I'm sick of your opinions. I'ma do me. I'm a motherfucking Indian. Long hair. Everybody liking what we doing, what we telling, man. Shit, long hair. Hair, long hair. Don't care. If you feel the type of way about the name, what we say, long hair, don't care. When you see me on the street, I notice how you look at me.
We'll do something,
Walking in the Tiffany's, you can tell yourself you don't see my ethnicity, okay? But your eyes say it differently. That's how it's been, and this is how it will be. This ain't no epiphany. Even I'm sick of me. The vanity is killing me. This bullshit's getting to my head. Something's gotta give, but what's new? Is it the brown skin, black flow, or tattoos? Or the fact that I'm in public, sipping on a brew? Someone tell me what's the difference between me and you? I ain't got a clue, but I flex on them haters like bamboo. I've been called a dirty jug, but it ain't true. Long hair don't care, no shampoo. I'm a rapper getting fatter with a mind like skitter scatter, and I'm climbing up the ladder, talking about what really matters. I got people coming up like, good God, get your hair cut and get a real job. I'm a redskin, no outlaws. I don't rock a gold chain, I rock a bear claw. I don't keep my hair long cause I don't care. It's long cause I'm an Indian. Go ahead and stare. Long hair. Don't care. We like it, what we doing, what we telling, man. Shit, long hair, don't care. Long hair. Don't care. If you feel the type of way about me, then what we say, long hair, don't care. Don't care. Everybody like it, what we doing, what we telling, man. Shit, long hair, don't care. Don't care.
Stevie.
What we say, long hair, don't care.
Yeah. All right. Feel better now. Sorry, I needed that. My indigenous friends. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if I can do some of the things that are floating around in my mind, perhaps I will be broadcasting from indigenous territory into the future.
See?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I'd really like to approach somebody I know out there and talk with them about opening a clinic, a cannabis clinic, where we can work with people to help them access doctors and help them through the licensing process with Health Canada. and get that done.
Oh, that reminds me. Oh my God, I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This guy runs probably the biggest dispensary in Oka, which is First Nations territory here, just probably 15 minutes from where I'm living now. And it would be a great collaboration where we could broadcast right from their location. I could be there in that location, so we'd have access to, you know, people coming in and all kinds of things. We could really have some fun with it, I think. So,
yeah.
But it's on my mind. I haven't made any move yet, obviously. I've just gotten here, but it's a consideration for
the future.
Yes, absolutely. And it would be awesome to be able to run this through a clinic where we actually have patients coming in and
absolutely,
that would be pretty cool. So
speaking of that, that's what made me think of my story, and it's a short story, and it was sad. I wanted to tell this gentleman. I got to tell you, I walk up to the door, right? I pull up into the dispensary, and there's this gentleman. He's probably in his 80s.
Okay.
And he don't know what he's doing. He's standing out in front. You know, you got to like show your ID. And I see him, and I get out, and I immediately rush over to help him. You know, because that's the person I am. So I'm like, "Hey, bud, you new?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've been looking for this damn place forever," because it's kind of a hiding spot. It kind of, you got to kind of turn off in this. It's very hard to find. Anyway, I said, "All right, so you got to push this button, and then you got to show your ID." I said, "But I got my ID, so I'll just show mine, and the door will open, and we can both go in." And he's like, "Oh, all right, cool." So I open up the door. They show, you know, they click the button, the door opens, we go in. We get in there, and I'm so, go for it, sir. Go ahead, show your ID first. And he's like, "All right," and he pulls out his driver's license, and I'm like, "Oh no," and he's like. And I'm like, no, buddy, you got to get your marijuana ID. And he's like, "What's a marijuana ID?" And I was like, "Oh, this poor guy has no idea, but he wants to come get medicine, and he has no clue how to get it. He's so far away. Like, he's got months before he can even." I wanted to tell him to go sit in the car, and I'll give him a dime bag when I get out. You know,
right?
I didn't, because he was using a cane. He was like stumbling to get in there.
So he hadn't been prescribed. He was actually trying to.
No, and I was like, I said, "If you give me a few minutes and I can help you, I will give you my doctor's information. I'll get you in touch with Dr. Harris."
Right.
And the guy in the store was like, "No, you don't have to. We have the paperwork right here. We can help him." Boom, boom, boom. And he was like, you know, so I said, "All right, good luck to you, sir." And I shook his hand, and I felt bad, but that's the people we want to try to help. I wanted to help him. I was like, but you know, helping him, giving my medicine to him wouldn't have been helpful anyway. You know, I don't know.
No, because it would not. I mean, in some ways, perhaps it might have been beneficial to him, but
no, yeah,
it doesn't really do him the service, because you really should see a doctor, especially by the time you're in that age and already having some medical conditions. Chances are you're on more than one prescription. So it's
I could be wrong. He could have been a little younger or older, because you know he was.
Right. It's hard to tell anymore, right? It's hard.
Right. He was an African American man, and you know you could tell he was old, because he had that gray afro instead of the the darker afro, and you know, and he just looked older, you know, but you can't tell. It's hard to tell how old he was. Absolutely, you know. But I would say somewhere in his late 60s to early 80s, somewhere in that area. You know, and he was stumbling in there. And the way he was walking, you would think older, because he was real slow with his walker, you know, with his little cane. And, you know, I just felt horrible for him. And then, you know, to be there, finally find the place. I've been looking for this place for weeks, he said, you know, and I'm like,
he can't get the medicine no matter what.
He goes in, and he's still not going to, he's still got to go try to find something off the side from the shady guy on the street, you know. And I'm just like, oh, man, I feel bad for this dude. If he was still out there in the parking lot when I left, because it might have taken him that long to get out there because he walked that slow, I might have gone up to him and talked to him and seeing if I could help him out in any way.
Yeah.
For the night, you know, or whatever, just to get his head right, you know, because you don't know where his head could be right then. He might have needed that, you know, his head could have been crazy right then, and he seemed very calm and very relaxed, and he was like, "I'm not worried about it. I'll fill out." I was like, "Oh, that's horrible, bro. That sucks."
And the question is, right? Is he currently using cannabis, and he was just looking for a new source, or is he really brand new to?
It seemed like he was.
Or
well, like he didn't have a doctor, so I think that he probably had used cannabis most of his life, but that's just assuming, and then because he knew where he was going. He was going to the weed store. It wasn't like he was like, I'm going to the doctor, and I'm in the wrong doctor's office. Oh no. He knew where he was going, but he didn't have no ID. So I'm thinking he didn't, he knew what he was going for, but he didn't know there was a whole procedure. Now he could have been from out of state. He could have been, no, he had a PA license, if I remember correctly.
Well, let's just use an accelerated timeline. If he was able to see a doctor yesterday when you were at the dispensary with him, or whatever day it was,
yeah.
From that point forward, how long does it take before you could actually purchase medical cannabis in Pennsylvania?
From the day you see your doctor, like if I walked in and I saw Dr. Harris.
Yeah, for the very first time, had no prescription, no nothing.
I walked in, I said, "Hi, Dr. Harris, so nice to meet you. You're going to give me a weed card." And he was like, yeah. And then that's not really how it went. But anyway, and then I got the permission from him. Yep. And then it was like 2 weeks and I got my card, I guess, about 2 weeks after I saw
a 2-week lag time from the time you get the prescription till the time you're actually able to access.
Hi, Andrew.
How's it going, Andrew? Chris was saying one of his worst stories when he was younger, a buddy and him went to Denver for the weekend, and his medical cannabis ID was expired by 2 days.
Oh, I got a worse one. I think I've told it, but my worst one is
yours wasn't even expired yet.
Right. I was going on vacation. I was leaving that day, and the card came in the mail, and I was like, yes, vacation. And I went to the dispensary before we left to drive away. That was our stop. We had to go the opposite way to the only dispensary I knew. And I went an hour that way to go to the dispensary, to walk up to the door for the dude to say, "Sorry, bro, your card doesn't start working until tomorrow." And I'm like, crazy doesn't start tomorrow, motherfucker. You better fucking let me in. And he did not let me in. And we had a pretty poor relationship from that day on because I called him motherfucker.
Yeah, I suppose, but
and he was just
it's frustrating, right? You know what I mean? But I guess they must have regulations have to follow, or they jeopardize the license. And
yeah, and they were brand new. Like they nowadays they might have said, "All right, come on in. We know you," but this was a brand new situation, and I'm like, "But what do you mean? The card is here. It came early. So what? It doesn't expire. It hasn't officially started yet. That's bullshit."
Yeah.
I was fucking pissed. And then I had to go find the shady guy on the street again and go away for a week on shady guy weed.
Shady guy weed.
That's the new name. Funny. That's the new name for it.
Shady. Kelly says it was quick for her. It was only 3 days.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But I don't know if I even trust that. Like mine is a license. Like it looks like a card, like a credit card with my picture on it. This shit, they got paper. It's like, yeah, you can buy weed, dude. That's what it says.
Yeah, mine from the government. My grow license, my cultivation license for my medical was just a stack of forms like this. There's just no paper. There was no little card.
Mine is a card with my ID, and they've actually updated it since then. And now my picture is down in the bottom corner over here as well.
Okay,
they put another picture there. And
do they put one of those little reflective weed leaves over your face?
And there's a barcode on the back, and there is stuff written on my face, but I don't know what it says.
The hologram?
Yeah, that's the hippie 6 years ago when he didn't have hair. He didn't have his long hair yet, and it was still brownish. It's only been the last 5 or 6 years that
Mrs. Lori says that she printed her own.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like they said, yeah, you got a card here, print it out, and you're good. And she got it from the same place Curly Kell got. How does that work? New York, West Virginia, New York,
different states.
Yeah. I don't think their cards are real, but I'm gonna let them pretend like they know.
Well, if it allows them to shop and get their medicine, that's what matters. But
it does. Lori took 2 weeks to get hers.
But they didn't see the same doctor in 2 different states.
Online doctor, as far as I know.
Oh,
yeah. Coincidence? I think.
Well, it's just going back to what Dr. Harris said when I talked to him about the jurisdiction in which he's able to prescribe, and he's restricted solely to the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
And
but
I
I consider that person that they're using the same as that lady that I was walking past at the fair, and they said, "Hey, you got your medical card?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "We can get yours for 60. Hit us up."
No, I'm just wondering how that works, right? Because how can a doctor prescribe cannabis from one state into another state?
Lori just said hers was a PA doctor.
It's interesting.
It sounds like the pill industry, but differently.
See, like in Canada,
look, Lori, Curly Kell,
online.
Curly Kell said her doctor was a PA doctor too. So my PA doctors are just giving out cards like they're candy, you sons of bitches.
Well, I'm just wondering how they're doing it, right? Because I mean, Dr. Harris, he was great, and I would recommend any individual who was interested in the pursuit of cannabis as medicine to talk.
All right, well, there they go. They just wrote it. Very Heal. Look them up. Very Heal. FVER-Heal.
Okay, so they may be.
Andrew's buying his next in Seattle. He said he's calling Very Heal now.
Okay, so
it's a real card. He says
in Canada they have that same sort of thing, right? You have a clinic that operates in multiple provinces. The only difference in Canada is that doctors are licensed at the federal level through Health Canada. They also have provincial credential also, but through Health Canada. So I can see a doctor anywhere in the country, and he has the ability to
get your anxiety going
and deal with all that kind of stuff.
My card's not real? What are you saying? Don't get me anxiety, hippie. It's fine, Curly Cal. It's fine. Calm down.
If your dispensary is honoring your documentation, then your documentation is valid.
You're good, yeah.
You know, I wouldn't worry about it.
It's strange that you're getting it from a PA doctor, and I can't go to your fucking state and buy anything. Well, now I can because it's recreational, but I couldn't use my card when I went to New York. They were like, no, you're not allowed to use your card anywhere but in PA.
Yeah, it's a curiosity for me for sure.
That's horrible to be able to not use your card in other states.
If we're lucky enough to get Dr. Harris back with us, then perhaps we can ask these questions about how is that a possibility? How does that work? What gives one doctor the authority to prescribe in multiple states, and one doctor doesn't have the authority to prescribe in multiple states? You know, because it is hard to find these doctors. And if doctors were allowed to work online like that through telemedicine and write these prescriptions, then it would make a lot of sense, right? Because people could have access from more jurisdictions.
Well, no, don't take this the wrong way, okay? But like I just said a few minutes ago, it's kind of, hey, Weedosaurus, how are you, bud? It's kind of like the pill problem when the Percocets and all the pills started taking over America. Once the weed became somewhat legal here, everybody and anybody who could give a card away just started giving cards away to whoever, and they really didn't look into the medical part of it. Like some people, I don't feel, you know, at points I feel like they were like, call this person, like on a website. There was a for a long time, I'm not going to say her name, and I know it, but there's a doctor or whatever her name is out there, and everybody goes to her. Everybody on TikTok, everybody on Facebook, everybody knows that lady's name. And she's the one that just gives out cards. You don't even need to tell her anything. You should just give her the money and she'll give you a card, kind of like the pill people. You know, this is the doctor you go to. This is where you're going to get your pills from. You don't even have to tell them anything. They're just going to give you your pills.
I mean, as safe as cannabis is, there still should be, if you're looking at cannabis for medicine, there should at least be
right, Weedosaurus, right? Quick money.
Fairly assessed, right? Like a doctor should have the
I think that this woman that's on the internet that everybody knows, and I'm sure some of you definitely have known her name or heard her name, She is one, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to get her in trouble. But she's one that was giving out cards like they were candy, you know, like just handing them out to whoever the hell they wanted to. You know, it didn't matter.
There were a couple doctors like that here too. There was one in Canada that used to travel around the country in his motorhome and run the clinic out of his motorhome, and he was writing huge prescriptions, and I think he was responsible for something like 6,000 prescriptions for medical cannabis, and that's when he caught the attention of the government because he had written like a noticeable portion of all prescriptions in the country have been written by this one individual doctor.
Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, you know, but you know that to me, I'm happy to see a doctor who has that much confidence in the plant that he feels good enough about prescribing that frequently. The only concern I have is that you don't get a proper consultation, because you should get a proper consultation with the doctor before it's prescribed.
In my opinion only, okay?
Yep.
Dr. Harris did a fantastic job. Like, he talked to me, he sat me down, we discussed it. He told me I was overqualified, unfortunately, for a weed card, and that we were going to work together forever on helping me. Great job. Then I went to the first dispensary, and they were like, oh, yeah, this is the big deal. This is when you're going to get the whole rundown. And I went into the door, and I went in, and it was back when they just opened. So there was like a 4-hour fucking wait standing out in the cold. The line was down the fucking front of the building, around the corner, around the back of the building. Yeah, it was horrible. There was only one dispensary in our area in the very beginning, and everybody went there from miles and miles. Anyway, you finally got in, and big dude, he was the supposed pharmacist or whatever you call it. You know, what is he called? Pharmacist? No, he was not. I mean, he was a bud tender as well. Coincidence? I don't know how that works, but he was also the pharmacist when he sat me down over here, and we talked for about 2 minutes. He said, everything's on the board. Just read the board and you're good. Just tell us what you want and we'll give it to you. And I was like, oh, all right.
Well, so guys are right. Look at the board and make a decision. That's all the advice he gave, eh?
Yeah, that was my visit with the pharmacist at that location. Yes, and that was my first consult. Right, my first consult. They made me fill out some papers so they could have my name and everything on file. And then they gave me my card back, and then I stood there and I waited online again for, another 20 minutes until that line moved. And then I got up to the front, and then I could, my eyes are horrible. So it's on big TVs behind the thing, and I'm squinting trying to read what I'm going to. And I get to the point and I'm like, you know what? You guys know better than me. Just start giving me stuff and I'll tell you when to stop. And then they would give me bags of weed and bottles of weed and dabs and stuff. And I'd be like, all right, that's too much. We went a little too far. Take the thing back. And now we're in the good price range. And I would go home and get really, really high. And that was my medical advice from the pharmacist at the dispensary. And then I went to different dispensaries because every time you go to a dispensary, you have to do the same fucking thing, even though I've been out of. Is this your first time here? Yes, but it's not my first time doing this. Don't fucking ask me the same stupid questions again.
Like,
you know what
really,
I mean?
in my opinion, because the access in your state is medical only.
Yeah.
They should actually be keeping a patient file on each individual who shops in that particular dispensary, so that they are compiling a history of the medications that you've purchased. What should be happening is when they come back, when your patient comes back into the dispensary, the people behind the counter should be asking, okay, they should be pulling up you, number one, and going through and saying, okay, so the last time you were in, you bought this strain and you bought this distillate and you bought this live resin. How were your experiences with those? How was the cannabis? Did cannabis work well for you? Did that particular strain work? Did it address your issues?
They should
give them some feedback.
Let me cut you for a second. I got to do a commercial. Yeah, and I heard FEMA might cut us off, so We got to do a 420 song, though. Muck Sticky. What's shaking in your grinder? But I agree. They definitely should be doing that. But I don't think they do. I mean, they obviously, because they can tell me what I bought the last time I was there. They pull up, what I bought, but I don't know if they're putting it together and trying to keep some sort of
and they should be. They should be. It's about concentration.
Many of us. There's not enough dispensaries and too many people going there. That would be a whole company in itself to keep track of that.
We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. Never had no funky hits like this before. How do you do? We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. Never had no funky hits like this before. Sticky, sticky, sticky muck, pumping on a badger. I be blazing through them, looking for the chewing. Treat you to a nice meal, maybe stick a shrimp, pickle, pickle, Peter Piper, hanging up and down the street, keep your trunk rattling, battling the evil forces, beat them like a fish and meet them clever when I'm on the level, bevel in the edges, trimming up them big buds like the thunder, trimming hedges like a trouble.
I'm gonna sue Muck Sticky for singing so fast when I have arthritis of this hand. There you go. I just gotta keep my hand going the whole fucking time. It's like blah, blah, blah. He sings too fast. Look, we need slower songs.
We're chicken in your grinder. 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 Never had no Who you get?
Fable Hands with us. How you doing,
Fable? Good morning, you darling, lovely sweetheart.
How they do? We're chicken in your grinder. Looking for some Mary Jane. Don't you know I'm gonna find her? Don't need a reminder. I know when I'm low. I can hide with a little help from my friend Joe. Sing out of tune, so you stick around. Might find me in the shower, swinging my hips around, feeling like a circus, working on a good buzz. You're fuzzy on the details, sending you an email. Never does the weed fail to take you to a higher plane. And the monkey is only here in the brain. You can never maintain, and this is the fact, and I'm back. Now let's burn another sack. How do you do? We're chicken in your grinder. 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 Well, I'm sticking like I got ganja galore. You might have a lot of ganja, but I got much more. Super curvy doobie, I'm gonna get lit. Take a big old hit, cause this shit's legit. So what you want? I want the cash for the show up front. Keep kick around like a punt. For the fun, I'm always on the hunt. Come along and get down. Pass it all around. Aren't you glad you found the funky, fresh, looking mother sound? We can go downtown, party like a prince. Try making a fun, let the good times come in. Fun, you just bring a find me. Soaking up the sunshine, cooking up the fun kind. Looking up a fun time, looking up a fun rhyme to go along with dinner. Crossing that finish line, looking like a winner, baby. How do you do? We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. How do you do? We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder. We're chicken in your grinder.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that lasts up to a year. Each machine lasts 25 to 30 years. Simply attach to your faucet or install under your sink. Even get a mineral spa unit for your shower. Go to evergreen.org to get a free ebook. Plus, pay for any machine in full and get an extra filter free. Change your water and change your life. Ownyourwater.org.
Hey, Mrs. Hippie, why don't we take a ride to Dauphin, PA today?
Dauphin? What's in Dauphin?
Bella's Badass Crystals.
Oh, but I thought you hang out with them on Facebook and on TikTok.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Today, I want to go there and pick up all my great finds.
That sounds like a great road trip. That's Bella's Badass Crystals on TikTok and Facebook, but you can also find them on the top of the mountain in Dauphin, PA.
They are badass.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some puppets, contact Sorge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. Okay, buddy? He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Sorge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items, too.
What up, yo? It's Muck Sticky, and I highly recommend you check out the Hippie and DoktorHigh show on Facebook and YouTube. Monday through Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern, baby.
Yeah, baby. What's up, everybody? We're back. Welcome back. We're hanging. It's the Hippie and with our Cannabis Chronicles show, right? The Cannabis Chronicles.
Yes.
Hippie and DoktorHigh. Welcome in. So, what were we talking about prior to this? That I'm being ripped apart by Fable Ann over here?
Well, I don't know, but I'm looking at the chat at Stoner Talk saying FEMA testing is happening in a bit.
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. I don't know what time it's supposed to happen.
Everybody who's listening with us, before 2:20 this afternoon, shut off your phones, turn off your computer, turn off your TV, and shut them off and leave them off for 30 minutes. Leave them off until 3 o'clock and then put them back on, because I've heard some funny things about this test that's going to happen. And see, it's running for 30 minutes, but there's no reason to run an emergency warning notification for 30 minutes. They say only 1 minute of it will be audible. So what are they doing with the other 29 minutes? From what I understand,
you're on a work computer, so who cares what's on your work computer?
Well, it's not that. It's a frequency. It's a harmonic frequency that'll be broadcast.
Curly Kel said she's working. She can't turn her shit off. That's all I'm trying to respond.
Well, put some cotton in your ears so that you can't hear the frequency or pick up that frequency, because they say that that's what they're actually broadcasting as a frequency. And there's some speculation as to what that frequency is all about. And as human beings, we respond to frequency, right? Because we're made of water. And if you've ever seen what a harmonic frequency does to water molecules, yeah. So we don't know what's going on, but I shut off for 40 minutes from 2:20 till 2:19 until 3 o'clock.
Abel says she knows what funny things, and she could tell us all about it.
Good. Tell us about it, Fable, because
are you interested?
We know that there's stuff going on, right? Yeah, it's going to be on every device. Canada, United States. It's not happening just in the US. It's not happening just in Canada. This is apparently a worldwide test occurring at the same time everywhere. So that's highly bizarre. You know? So
yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but in this day and age, we just have to kind of protect ourselves from even the possibility. If there's even a hint of weirdness around it, just don't let it get at you. You know, that's when I'm going to take my puppy outside for a stroll. Yep.
I'm going to play music and hang out and dance.
There you go.
I'm already crazy, so a little more.
Actually, last night was a very strange night. I took my dog out for a walk last night, and right on the second floor of my building, with the lights fully on, was a naked woman.
Yes, that is not a bad thing.
It was just weird because
Was she a big, ugly woman?
She was a big woman.
Oh, well, big's not bad.
But
big and ugly, then you were worried.
Well, I mean, I couldn't see her face, but I mean, I wasn't really trying to look. I was more a bit in shock because how can you not know how visible you are when you don't have the curtains closed, you don't have no blinds down, you got the light fully on in the room, and you're naked in front of your window, basically.
You're in Montreal now, Dr. High. It's a different world.
Yeah, it was a little bit surprising. I was, yeah.
No, now you just have to know that this is the time of day when you need to take
When I
the
need to
dog
walk the
for a
dog,
walk, so you can look every day and get a nice view of some woman naked.
I can live without
Montreal. I remember, if I remember Montreal right, there was a lot of naked women when I went there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a city of
Remember
beautiful
very
people,
much.
that's for sure. There are a lot of beautiful people in Montreal. Exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Garrett. This kind of stuff. So,
Oh, my goodness. Why can't they just leave us the fuck alone? That's what I
don't know.
say, you know, just fuck alone. I want to just smoke weed and not have to worry about turning my damn phone off.
Yeah.
I want to go back to a corded phone.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of cell phones, smartphones, they made it so we can't live without them. But really what we've all done is because we all have them. Now we're totally trackable everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything you do.
I know Mississippi finds me every time I'm at the titty bar. Mississippi's like, what are you doing there again? I gotta learn to turn this tracker off.
But it's not just that. I mean, have a conversation with somebody about something. And then the next time you open up your phone and go to Google something.
Oh, I hate that. It drives me nuts.
Pops up an ad or something related to the conversation you're having. I mean, they're always listening, right? Always. Like Siri is a spy. Alexa is a spy.
Don't say her name. She'll answer you.
Well, I don't have any of those devices here, but
I do. She's listening right now.
Of course she's listening. She's always listening.
Hi, sweetie.
You know, and we voluntarily.
I tell her a lot of freaky stuff, though. I tell her a lot of freaky stuff. So.
Now you're on a weird list.
Yeah, I'm on the weird list. And I also, like, my kids walk around and add, like, cool stuff. Like, uh-oh. There it is. It's starting. Get down. Oh, no. I just knocked my torch over. Damn it. They snuck it on us.
I hope my wife doesn't have any problems today. That was her phone.
Oh, shit.
She's at work without a phone.
I guess you got 2 phones to worry about now, bucko.
I got 3.
3 phones to worry about now, bucko. And I wasn't prepared. I'm like over here diving for my phone.
Yeah, I got the Android. I got the iPhone.
Just in case you want
to. And then my wife's iPhone. No, for me, because of the social media side of things and how easy it is for people to infiltrate your stuff. Yeah. I have one phone that only goes online, social media, all that bullshit. And then this phone contains my cryptocurrency and my banking, you know? So that
they don't have track of that one. They only have.
Well, no, they can track it, but nobody will ever be able to get in through Messenger or through anything like that, right? Because they just don't use that phone for anything other than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me remind everybody that Nick and I will not be on this evening. Nick has a prior engagement, so tonight's In the Clouds with Da.Hippie and Nick is going to be canceled, unfortunately. But great news is that Friday. Well, no,
that's funny.
What happened?
No, I'm just reading what Fable Ann's saying, that I think she's trying to indicate that my wife is trying to indirectly bump me off by leaving her phone here so I get the frequencies.
Oh yeah, she's like, I'm not taking my shit with me. You deal with that shit. That's what I was saying. You're in
That's right. Maybe she knew what was going on. Kelly in the clouds with the hippie.
No,
No. No. Why not?
The hippie is taking the afternoon off.
Oh yeah.
No, I'll be on for my regular 4 to 8, but I'm not staying on till 10.
Actually, today's kind of a cool day. My daughter called me this morning and invited us over for dinner. And that is pretty cool because that's never happened before because we haven't lived in the same city for 6 years.
Right.
So she never had her own place when we were living here, and it's kind of neat. So looking forward to that. If you had to choose, yeah. I think Fable Ann's talking about her or Kelly coming up on the show.
I wouldn't take either of you. You both drive me nuts.
So any more word on? Oh no, we talked about that afterwards. So
any more word on what?
No, I was confusing our show yesterday with our conversation after the show yesterday. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So stories, couple. Get us through. We got 25 minutes to go. What did I read that was interesting? I marked a couple of stories. Of course, now after seeing that FEMA thing, it got me going on that. But all right, so here's one about driving under the influence of cannabis. It says, as marijuana legalization sweeps the U.S., researchers and policymakers are grappling with the growing public safety concern: marijuana-impaired driving. We explain the challenges of setting legal limits for THC in bodily fluids and what the research shows of how marijuana affects driving. As marijuana use continues to rise and state-level marijuana legalization sweeps the United States, researchers and policymakers are grappling with this concern. The issue has not been an easy one to tackle because, unlike alcohol, which has well-established thresholds of impairment, the metrics for marijuana's effects on driving remain rather elusive. We don't have the kind of deep knowledge right now, and that's not because of a lack of trying, says this professor of epidemiology and founding director of Center for Injury Science and Prevention at Columbia University. Marijuana is very different from alcohol in important ways, says
Ag, how are you, buddy? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Says Liu has published several studies on marijuana and driving. One of them is that the effects of marijuana on cognitive functions and behaviors is much more unpredictable than alcohol. In general, alcohol is a depressant drug, but marijuana could act on the central nervous system as a depressant, a stimulant, and a hallucinogenic substance.
Has anybody ever tripped out from weed? Like hallucinated?
I've never hallucinated from it.
I have never hallucinated from weed. I've had a lot of weed in my day, and I've never seen things moving. I never laid on the front lawn and watched the grass grow. I never watched my fingers and seen the bones inside.
Like, I've seen some distortion of like color and stuff, right? Like when you smoke a joint on a beautiful summer day, how much greener everything appears, right? When you're outside or something like that. I've seen that kind of thing, but never what I would define as an hallucination.
That's just the medical people trying to make up bullshit lies so that they can keep it as a bad drug. You know, that's probably an older story, but
yeah. So what to get into, it says the efforts to create a breathalyzer to measure the level of THC, the main psychoactive compound found in marijuana, have largely failed because the THC molecule is much bigger than ethanol, and its behavior after ingestion is very different from alcohol.
I gotta say something though. You know, I would trip the fuck out if he tried to take my weed. If a cop came up and tried to take my weed, and maybe that's why they think we are having psychedelic trips, because like don't touch my shit, bro. No,
I don't know. I guess that maybe.
I mean, I guess that would be me tripping out. I mean, that's the only way I would be tripping. Would be like, don't touch my shit, bro. Don't. And then they'd be like, you're tripping, bro.
Yeah, right. Maybe. Well, it says currently the two most common methods used to measure THC concentration to identify impaired drivers are blood and saliva tests, although there's an ongoing debate about their reliability. Marijuana, in terms of interchangeability used with cannabis, so they're just saying it's the same word, is the most commonly used federally illegal drug in the United States. 48.2 million people, or about 18% of Americans, reported using it at least once in 2019. Worldwide, 2.5% of the population consumes marijuana.
That seems extremely low.
It does to me too. I think that number is skewed a little bit, because why are you going to have 18% of the U.S. population reporting using cannabis, and then the rest of the world is only at 2.5%?
Yeah, it just seems weird.
I think that there are some countries that cannabis is much more prevalent even than here.
Let's get into something important here, though, in that story. What I heard you say, something about saliva.
Yep.
What's up, traditional hashish? How are you? Saliva.
How's it going?
But how would they be testing it in my saliva?
Well, they do a swab in the mouth, right? That's what they do.
For people who eat weed. For people who eat weed.
No, even if you smoke it or consume it as an edible or whatever, it's still going to make its way there. You know.
I say no.
Well, that would be incorrect. No, it would be incorrect, because it's there, right? It's in your body. So I'm just trying to get to the part in the article that actually gets into the nitty gritty, not of the driving. You know, it says because marijuana consumption can lead to immediate effects such as impaired muscle coordination, paranoia, blah, blah, blah. But they're not getting into what the article actually said that it was. They're talking more about the negative consequences of marijuana and driving. So here's something maybe a little more, because it's Canadian, so we have more opportunity to openly look at these kind of metrics, right, for cannabis legalization.
So it was nice seeing you, buddy.
The Journal of American Medical Association Network. The rate of cannabis-involved traffic injuries that led to emergency department visits in Ontario, Canada, increased by 475%, from 0.18 per 1,000 traffic injury emergency department visits to 1.1. And that's out of 1,000. So basically what they were saying here was, out of every 10,000 injured people that result in an emergency room visit, of that, only 1.8 people ended up in an emergency room because of marijuana involved in that accident. So less than 2 people out of every 10,000 injuries suffered in a motor vehicle accident was the result of cannabis impairment. So that's very, very small. And although they use a number like increased by 475%, the increase in that number, and the first number, right, 1.8% was in 2010. And now we go to 2021, where cannabis has been legal at 3 years at this point, right? And it's gone from 0.18% to 1%. So now out of every 10,000 people who end up in an emergency room from injuries in a motor vehicle accident related to cannabis has jumped from just under 2 to 10 people. Now, let's see the numbers.
Well, I want to say something.
Let's see the numbers for alcohol.
Well, wait. Before we go there, what about the fact that we're not morons and we don't get out of the car and be like, yo, yeah, I'm stoned out of my mind, bruh.
Oh, was this guy tried to pop in some kind of bullshit comment?
Yeah, he was talking trash about us or something. I don't know. I really didn't care.
Cool.
I think he
never seen him before.
morons or something.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what he said. I didn't care. I didn't care for his tone.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, like what I was saying is, you know, like stoners aren't dumb. We don't get out and be like, yeah, test me, bro. I'm high as fuck. So it's like, you know, that number is not going to be high because none of us are getting out of the car and saying, I fucking wrecked the car because I'm stoned.
Yeah, but if you end up in an emergency department from a motor vehicle accident, chances are you're not taking yourself there. You're being transported by first responders. And depending on your level of consciousness, they could be drawing your blood, you know, just to do tests to make a determination. And then it's showing a presence in that sample, perhaps. You know what I mean? But it's not really about he grow dank dope Lee.
Yeah, that's another. He said lies. We'll let him go. We'll see if he has anything else to say.
But you know, that's the whole thing. Like an article like that presents itself talking about the negative impacts of cannabis and driving, but yet there's not a single mention of alcohol or distracted driving due to cell phone usage. Right, and these are the two big killers on the road.
I think that one, yeah, cell phone is the one that should be done. You should put it in the trunk with your gun.
It has bypassed serious accidents. It's gone beyond alcohol. So now cell phones and distracted driving due to the use of a cell phone, the number of people killed and injured because of that has surpassed the number of people killed and injured through impaired driving due to alcohol.
Marijuana, weed, pot, marijuana. Yeah, I use the word marijuana.
Yeah. But and that's the whole thing, right? Like, do you ever see a statistic that shows how many people are killed every year because of using a cell phone while they drive?
I've never really looked into it, but I could only imagine because Mrs. Hippie has almost killed me numerous times.
Yeah, they don't talk about it. You know why? Because they don't want people to be afraid to use the what? Why are you talking like this?
This is like I can't stand stupidity. See you later, buddy.
That nature here. Like, you see what he's writing?
Yeah,
like, what's up with that?
It's just stupidity. That's what happens when you open yourself up to YouTube. That means we're getting famous. And now more people are joining and watching. And now we're getting some idiots as well. Yeah, there's not always
Steve.
Because I deleted
how's
it.
Life
He's on YouTube.
How's life down under?
On YouTube.
Yeah. Talking stuff like that. What the fuck is wrong with people? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't let it get to you. Smile. He's a dumbass. It's funny.
Oh, no, I don't care. I just don't. Sometimes humanity makes me shake my head. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. He called lie. He said lies, and I was like, I don't know what that's all about. But then,
you know, talking about the article where they were saying that marijuana.
Yeah, that's why I was like, all right, we'll stay with it. We'll let him keep going, you know. And then he started talking nonsense, and I'm like, I don't have time for nonsense, especially racial nonsense. You dumb jerk.
Exactly.
Get out of my house. You don't talk like that here.
Oh, Garrett just popped an interesting stat in. And can you pull up the same stats, Garrett, for alcohol impaired motor vehicle crashes for that same year? You know, it's curious to see.
Listen, I drive high every day. Uh-oh. You're frozen. What the hell happened?
But they don't for people to leave their phones active. Right?
I don't know what the hell you're saying. I'm losing my mind over here. You're frozen. You got your finger in your eyeball. Cannabis lover. Hi. How are you, cannabis lover?
We're getting a lot of
new people.
A lot of new faces coming in on YouTube today.
Yes, it's awesome. Welcome. Welcome. You've got mail.
You've got mail. So Garrett says In 2019, there were just over 10,000 deaths involving drunk driving, or where the blood alcohol level was exceeded, right? 28%. So between
Cannabis lover,
driving
you.
and alcohol, you've been called a cannabis lover as an insult?
Yes, that's.
It's not an insult here.
N-word.
Badge of honor.
Well, that's disgusting, and I'm sorry that you were called that. That's not
Yeah.
right. You should love everybody, and it don't matter what color they are.
No, it makes no difference.
I don't know why we're on the race all of a sudden today.
Yep.
The indigenous people. That's what it was. I should have. I
Could
played
be.
that song, got everybody riled up.
And as far as I'm concerned, there's only two kinds of people in the world.
Good and bad.
Those that love cannabis and those that don't. You know
Good
what I mean?
Good and bad. Good and bad. You know, there's good people and there's bad people.
Right.
And you can choose to be good or
But I
bad.
got a feeling that if you were to take all the bad people, very few of them smoke weed, would be my guess.
All right, cannabis lover. I don't know what you're going with here, but enough. I don't want to hear about the N-word anymore. All right, we don't talk about the N-word. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about that. There's no N-word here. They're human beings, for God's sake.
Unless we're talking about nitrogen.
Yes, maybe.
We might be talking about nitrogen.
Or nitrous. Balloons. Yes. Yeah, I don't care for that word. My niece is African American, and I am not a racist person in any way, and I don't want to talk about it. And I don't want to kick you. You seem like you're all right. Nincompoop. All right, now you're gone.
Jeez.
This is great.
Weird. Well, we're gonna need. Oh, Chris is saying that you're starting to get the odor. Have you rubbed those stalks between your fingers and given them a good smell to get an idea where you're going, Chris? I noticed the last pictures that I saw from your vault. You had nice little flowers starting to form. And you're going into probably week 4 would be my guess right about now. Week 4 in flowers, so you got probably another 4 to 5 weeks to go, depending on the strain, and then you should have some beautiful buds to deal with.
Oh my God, DoktorHigh. I forgot. That reminds me. Holy shit.
What?
Seed number 2. Remember the one that was planted inappropriately when I wasn't paying attention?
Yep.
So I go to water it yesterday, and it's coming out one side here beautifully in green. And then I look, and there's a stem coming up on the other side. The root has grown around and up and out of the soil on the other side.
Okay.
So what I did was I got the soil very wet, and then I readjusted her appropriately and put it back down deep into the soil, that side. And I propped them up, standing up, and so far it looks okay today. But whoa, man, I was nervous for a second there.
Well, if the root naturally curls and then comes back out, it doesn't matter. Because what's going to happen is the part that's underground is then going to start to form its side branching, right? The roots are going to start to come off the side, and then that little tail will.
But that tail could have possibly turned into another plant.
No, it would never turn into another plant, but it would just do what it does. But yeah, there's no danger in that.
Well, then probably was more danger than what I did then, probably. But
yeah, maybe,
but it seems like it's okay today. This was yesterday afternoon. I took care of it, and now she's not dead. She still looks lively. In fact, it looks like 2 more leaves are there. So,
and I know that your other one is coming along very nicely.
Yeah, I have one thing I'd like to discuss about that one.
Okay,
there is one leaf on the very tip of one of the beautiful big fan leaves.
Yep.
And I mean, the whole plant looks absolutely gorgeous, but this one tip of one plant leaf has like 4 little spots that look like rust, like reddish, orangish, brownish.
Okay.
I mean, it's nowhere else. I've searched every other plant, there's nothing that even makes any sense.
Else, right? All right. Well, let's just keep an eye and see what happens. You know, if you start.
Yeah, that's what I figured. If it starts getting bigger or anything, then I was going to bring it up. I wasn't even going to bring it up today because I figure it's just a leaf that's going to eventually come off anyway because it's a fan leaf. You know, it's a big one. It's one of the top ones, and I think that maybe it was just too close to the light at one point, and it might have gotten a little burn, maybe a little.
No, your lights aren't intense enough for that.
You don't talk about my lights like that, bro.
Yeah, but they're not intense enough to burn the plant.
You don't know my lights.
No, but you burn plants with 1,000-watt bulbs, right? That generate a lot of heat, and you're using fluorescent.
It seems very weird. Like everything else looks gorgeous. I'm actually contemplating pulling off these little buds that I chewed on last week. There's 2 more coming up on those other spots now, and now I'm ready to chew them off and get more sprouts because I'm like, fuck it, why not? You know.
Right, like you can clean up anything that now comes along the stem, the main stem,
the little stick stuff that are starting to pop out on the main.
What I'm talking about is anything that's coming off as a branch, leave it be. But where the branch is coming off of the stem, right? You're going to have the branch. You got your stem. You're going to have the branch site coming off. In that little V between the stem and the branch site, you'll start to get new growth. You'll see a little set of leaves that'll pop off, which would become another branch at that node. But you don't require any of that now. What you want to do is develop the structure of the plant that's
well, the way that my pot is, I'll tell you honestly, the way that my pot is, the plant, I didn't put enough soil, like it's lower in the pot. Yep. So all those lower branches are already naturally curving up along the side of the pot, if you know what I mean.
Which is what we want to happen anyway.
Right. So I wasn't going to mess with them yet because they're actually getting that natural curve on their own because of the way it's laid in the pot.
No, we want to bring them up now. Those side branches, we want them to come up until they're 2/3 of the way to matching the very top of your plant. And then we want to do the same thing in those branches that we did to the center. Pluck out that center growth, right? And stop the growth of the branch the long way and force 2 more branching sites. And then those 2 more branching sites will be the ones that we're going to hope that are going to catch up to the same level as your center. Therefore, you have all your buds at one height, right? Maximum number of buds. We should be able to get you 12 to 16 cola sites on that plant before you pop it into flower. So that's the idea. Right now, you're just trying to train the plant and get it to be optimal for its flower phase, right? Daga BTW is a word used in certain areas of South Africa to describe cannabis. Daga. Yeah, I've heard of that. Absolutely, I've heard of Daga. Yeah,
I guess maybe when they were writing something earlier, I might have blocked them because I was I thought they were saying inappropriate stuff. I apologize if I was in.
And I'll tell you what, Durban Poison is an amazing strain. It's been around for a long time. It's a great sativa strain, but the Durban Poison is an excellent strain of cannabis that comes out of South Africa. So, you know, it's definitely got the right climate for cannabis. That's for sure. So,
anyway, we have about 2 minutes left, unless you got another story.
I think I got one more.
Smoking it this morning says I'm big.
Oh, you're smoking the Durban Poison this morning. Nice. So here's a good cannabis story. Elk River family celebrates daughter's access to medical cannabis at school after initial resistance. So this will be something for you guys out there, Chris and Garrett, being in Minnesota. This is a story out of Minnesota, And it says an Elk River family who has fought for weeks for their daughter to have access to her medical cannabis on school grounds saw their persistence pay off over the weekend. The school district superintendent, in an email,
I remember this story when they started it, when they were fighting for it. I remember reading about this story. It's cool that they won.
Yeah, and she's 9 years old. So they notified Sabrina and Tim Mattis that their 9-year-old daughter, Crystal, will be allowed to get her dose at school after they said officials initially told them they needed to leave school property to take the medication before she could return. It says, we are thrilled for Crystal to be able to go to school full time. It's a huge accomplishment for her. The district will now work with Mattis on a plan for how and when she will give Crystal, who has epilepsy and autism spectrum disorder, her medical cannabis midday, which will save the third grader the stress of leaving school and disrupting her day. Mattis praised the updated policy as a victory for her daughter and other children who use medical cannabis. So here is an instance of the benefit of providing cannabis to a child.
That's awesome.
Medical need, right? And 9-year-old girl.
And I would assume it's an edible, so she just goes to the nurse's office, eats an oil of some sort.
Yeah, I doubt that she's smoking on blunts out there in the playground.
They're not taking her out onto the playground. Say, all right, come on, Lucy, let's go smoke a blunt so you can get back to class. Okay.
And they're saying in Minnesota, there are more than 40,000 patients enrolled in the medical program, including 450 children under the age of 18. So 1% of all medical patients in Minnesota are under the age of 18.
Wow.
So
shout out to
autism, that's it. It says autism was one of the most qualifying conditions for children. I felt like our advocate. Parents need to advocate for their kids to create change. And I just hope to continue to do that for Crystal and other medical cannabis patients in Minnesota.
All right. I'm going to have my people reach out to their people. We're going to get them on. We're going to talk to the mom and dad and Crystal about their victory.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know how I'm going to do it because I don't even know their names, but mom and dad and Crystal.
Right. And you don't really, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Because children that age are not consuming cannabis via smoking, right? So what's happening is they are taking it in some other form, whether it be an edible, whether it is an oil or a tincture or spray or whatever it is, the method of consumption, it would have absolutely no bearing on any other individual in the area. They're not going to have to deal with secondhand smoke. They're not going to have to deal with.
The thing is, it's medicine for them. They don't even know because they're only 8 or 9 years old. So it's a good step in the right direction because they're only 8 or 9 years old and they're already being introduced into it as medicine. And so when they get older and everybody's getting high, they're going to be like, no, that's not high. That's medicine, and it's
exactly. Because it has been for them and it's making a difference. And I'll tell you, like, it's good to see that doctors are willing to keep this option on the table for children.
Well, I told you that's how I met my doctor, Dr. Harris.
Yeah, that's where it's having a huge impact, especially with the children that have epilepsy. And for sure, I think that was the very first one. And now that they're finding there's benefits for children with autism also. And, things have changed a lot, or maybe we just didn't know about it when we were growing up. But I didn't grow up with a lot of kids who were diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
I talk about that all the time. Everybody has it. I think everybody's got a part of it in them. It's just how we hide it or how we deal with our own issues,
I can look back at kids I went to school with and see where it would have been applicable. Right.
Absolutely.
But it really was not diagnosed.
Right.
So much. I never heard about it. Right. So.
Well, we didn't know because all we knew was what they were telling us, which was bad drug, bad, what was it? The gateway drug to hell.
Yeah, which was just lies.
And the commercials. Remember the commercials? I seen it the other day. The girl that was all flat on the couch. This is you on weed.
Yeah.
You're just this flat person.
Or that old commercial. this is your brain on drugs with the egg going into the frying.
Egg, yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my goodness.
complete foolishness. Yeah, of course we've heard of the runner's high. That's the release of endorphins.
Yep.
You know, that runner's experience when they have exhausted pretty much all of their energy.
Yes.
You know, keeps you going. But that's, you know, there's reasons for these things to happen, right? Because there was a time that we didn't have automobiles and ways to transport ourselves, and we needed to get from one place to another, and you know, or you needed to escape from, you know, a wild animal that was chasing you, or you needed to escape from members of another community who wanted to kill you because there was war between the villages or the tribes or whatever the case may be, right? So that would have just kept you going long enough to hopefully allow you to get away from your pursuers. You know, so there's a lot of good reasons for that. Of course, I've never had a runner's high because
we're big and fat,
I'm
so
not a runner.
We were like, no, that's not high enough. I
Yeah.
need to get higher. I'm not running.
Yeah.
Not running to get high. Sorry. Not interested. Anyway,
It's
what
like,
else?
well, we just want to be like everyone else and make sure that our bodies aren't hurting anymore. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we as individuals should be allowed to follow the course of action that gives us the best quality of life. And if that's
what it's all about, right?
To achieve it, then we should have the absolute right to do so. There should be no barriers. There should be no blockage. There should be no law that prevents us from living our best lives. And really, who can determine what our best lives is better than ourselves?
Right. And that's where I am Mrs. Hippie, and I don't like to pick on her, but her and I, we differ on that, and she doesn't get it. Like, I mean, she gets it. She understands, but you know, like I'm you know, I suffered a severe car accident and I'm in pain, but I try to explain to her that she doesn't know. Nobody knows how much pain I'm in.
Right.
You know, so how do you tell me I'm smoking too much weed when I know that if I need to smoke flower to get my pain to go away, and that's what I choose, I don't choose pills because I could be on Percocets or Oxycontins for the rest of my life. They told me I would be, and I chose not to be, and so I suffer with pain.
But you manage it with a more natural.
Absolutely. I mean, it sucks and it's very expensive here in my state, unfortunately. And hopefully that'll be taken care of eventually and it'll be cheaper, or I'm going to have my own because they're going to pass the law saying here that we're going to be able to grow here, medical patients, and then I'll be able to grow. And then, you know, I'll take care of my own situation and not have to go pay as much.
Well,
you know?
and that's the other thing, right? The cost of cannabis is a real barrier to being able to use this medication. Like, imagine
I'm on a concentrate right now, bigger.
Yeah, we're big fans of concentrates. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
love them.
You know, what Rick Simpson was saying is it's really true. Like, cannabis should be treated no differently than any other herb in society. You know what I mean? It certainly should be treated much differently than alcohol.
My son did a couple projects on marijuana in school. He was known as the pothead in school. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually surprised that Tom was saying that he did that as an 8th grader. I mean, I was interested.
No, it was more in high school. My son did more of his reports on it. He wouldn't break the barrier beforehand, but he definitely broke barriers in his high school. He wore weed socks every day and got busted for having drawings of weed on his books and stuff. And they were like, he's like, what? I can't draw. And they're like, well, you know what that is? He's like, absolutely. It's one of my favorite plants.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Why you call it the M word, marijuana?
Well, you know, marijuana is kind of actually more of it kind of racializes cannabis. Because that was a word that was
confused. I guess probably why we blocked them earlier, and I'm confused because
by the Mexicans, right?
I'm not the bright one. First of all, I'll let you guys know, bigger, and he's the bright one. I'm the comic relief of this show. He's the one with all the
and that's part of why, like, you won't hear me use the word marijuana very frequently. I'll refer to it most as cannabis, but this was part of the the disinformation campaign about cannabis that started back in the 30s when they started saying that, jazz musicians and migrant workers coming up from the South, and this was what was causing, this madness, and white women were being raped and all this kind of stuff because people were smoking marijuana. And it's not the case. I mean, we know for a fact, right? All of us who've been involved with the plant, we know that we are not inspired to commit those kind of acts.
Is that a bad word? Marijuana is a bad word? Are you
Well, it's
telling
not
me
a bad word, but it does have connotations that are not necessarily pure. You know what I mean? Like cannabis is more scientific.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I apologize.
the other Spanish word that we use in the cannabis world is sensimilla, which you don't hear many people talk about sensi anymore. Sensi was the big word for a long time, right? When we first started seeing cannabis without seeds, it was sensi. You know what I mean? In the 80s, guys were saying, what do you got? Oh, I got sensi, I got the sensi.
I remember hearing it.
Yeah, and what sensimilla stands for is seedless. 100%. Yeah. You're purely right about that. You know what I mean? So that's the other.
I don't know anything about the reefer madness either that he's all talking about over there with the racial aspects.
Yeah, except for the poster that's behind you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that. I have
You
I actually have two of the posters on. Should I take them down? Is that offensive?
Well, it's part of our history, right?
I will take them down in a minute because in no way am I trying to offend anybody. I just thought
I don't think people take it as an offense, but you just don't know. Anyway, it's too.
I remember people talking about it being a great movie. I don't even know if I've ever actually watched the movie Reefer Madness.
Well, I hate to cut it, but we're over time, and the dog is crying at the door, which means he needs to go out. So I will have to walk him this time. Everybody, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate your interaction.
We will be back tomorrow, Bigga, and everybody else that was new today. Thank you so much for joining us, Lee. Thank you. We're here every day from 12 on the East Coast to 2-ish. I reiterate 2-ish. All right, Dr. High, have a great day. Go take Loki for a walk.
Peace,
and I will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much. And peace, love, and hippie hugs, and a whole shitload of nugs to you all.
That's it. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Peace.